Hello everyone, this is Enzo Eigen, the Alliance for Loki, and today I just want to look at some of the Alliance War fights. This is our last practice war before seasons, and it is with this dispersion, this defensive tactic where a lot of the Mystics and some other champions get this extra miss mechanic as part of their kit. Of course, they always give us a counter tactic, which is Defiance, and so here I've sorted all my champions by Defiance. I have taken 3 skills, science, and I've brought in Captain America, Mr. Fantastic, and Abomination, I-Bomb, who are all good war attackers anyway, and I've added this Defiance. And so basically what Defiance does is it makes you immune to buffs. So everyone becomes a Red Guardian or Spider 2099, which is much more powerful than you think. The problem with the Mystic Dispersion, I think if they nullify a buff, then they get a mischarge on them, and then it resets every 20 seconds, I believe. So it can be really annoying already, along with Mystic Dispersion's already annoyingness if you're fighting a Mystic. So the first fight's against Sorcerer Supreme, and I decided to go ahead and use Reed Richards here, just because he's always such a good option. You see I put on some modest boosts. I have a lot of boosts in the overflow, so just because I want to have relatively serious fights, I decided to put the boost on just to see what it'd be like. And so, of course, she has crazy power control. The node isn't too hard. It's sort of like this Fury regen node, which is relatively easy to deal with, and so don't have to worry about that. And of course, the nice thing about Mr. Fantastic, when I put on all of his pre-fights, I mean, she's really not going to get much power gain since she's a power gain mechanic champion. And so there it is, the Reinvigorate, Fury, Personal Space, Regeneration, and so that's what it has. But there, she does have the Mystic Dispersion, because she is one of those war defense champs for this season. So I go in with this. My plan is just to try to, the most important thing is to keep up my the debuffs on him, which means every now and then I have to knock her down. Knock her down with a heavy, which is fine. Of course, you can knock her down with the SB1, 2, or the SB2. And so we can see how quickly this fight is going. I mean, she's just absolutely being melted. She is running suicides, which does make it very easy. So this fight's not really that great an example of a war fight, just because they never have suicides in war unless they're someone like Elsa, who needs suicides to do extra damage. But yeah, it's great, really quick fight, really easy. And the nice thing was I tried to finish up with as many debuffs as possible, so I'd have plenty of them for the rest of the war. Now we have a Invisible Woman, who also, she's one of the non-mystics, who has this mystic mechanic, and again, she has this fury and masochism over time. And so, again, things that could be a little bit challenging, but really not too hard in nodes. Going with an I-Bomb, I figured I'd just try to melt her with my acid wash genes that I can put on her. And I figured that way it would get rid of the masochism, which I was a little worried about. I mean, 50% is quite a lot. And so there she has it there, and she's regenerating a lot. I put on my SP1, get the Petrify. I feel like that would slow down that Mystic Dispersion, that masochism. And so, yeah, you can see she's still gaining a pretty good amount of health, but my goal is to get to my SP2 and unleash that. And as I start getting more and more poisons, I'll call it, on her too, of course, and my Despair Mastery is doing a really good job of, I think now she's just down to, was it plus 132, or maybe the beginning is like plus 200 or 300 health. And so yeah, everything is going well. Got my SP2 all set. There it is. Acid spit everywhere. That's what I-Bomb is great for. And now I'm just to try to get a lot of poisons on her while I have my aura up, and then try to melt her. And so I go ahead and throw an SB1 there. It's a little risky just because I was so close, but I was close enough to her that I could put on the enough to get the acid wash. But you can see for a while she's like plus 406. I mean, the healing is pretty big with super masochism, but the fight is very, very straightforward. And again, another good example. Did not have any problems with the war defense tactic, because he just doesn't get any buffs. So there's nothing to, I don't know if it gets nullified or if they just expire. I think even if they just expire, then they could get that miss mechanic. So now we have Doom. Doom is a really tricky defender in general. I mean, of course, with Mystic Dispersion and everything else, he can be really difficult. And you see him, I think, a fair amount on this node. This node is the one where once they get to 35% health, they get a bunch of power gain. And I can't remember what the other one is. But again, having the Petrify on him is great. It just keeps the power gain down low. And then also having the other two just allow him not to gain that much power. So you can see, he gets to his SP1. My goal here is just to bait out SP1s, and there it is. Want to keep on knocking him down as much as possible. And of course, trying to get my SP2 this time, because the SP2 gives me another set of those charges. So there I throw it. It's pretty close to them expiring. Not too bad, but it's always scary when they get near to their expiration. But the SP2 resets them all, which is nice. Give him a good kick, reset them all, and he's at his SP1. I can dance around. Nice thing about having a Petrify on is at any point I could always just block his SP1. I decided to try to dex it. I've been working on the dex a lot of his SP1, and that's what you do in the preseason. But again, you can see that little energy icon above me. That means every time I would have triggered a buff, I get the little energy resistance icon. And now the nice thing about him is he has that permanent passive charge, that one you see, because once he throws his SP1 3 times in a row, it becomes like I can't remember, it's like the Mr. Fantastic Mechanic. The nice thing about that though is it gives me a power gain, offensive power gain, so you can see I'm going to build up power really quick. So now I have 3 of each of the debuffs on. You can see they're ticking well. 123 each time for damage, which is great. Just keep on putting that on because I think they've reversed his healing is what's happened. And so, I've gotten lots of damage from reversing his willpower with those 3 Petrify debuffs on. So very Void-esque in the way you can do that. Keep on knocking him down now. I just want to keep his those debuffs off. The worst thing would be to let them expire. I can always refresh him with the SP2, but I lose a little bit of control here. I should have thrown my SP1, but got to an SP2. That's a little bit of, not the difficulty, but we have to be aware of when you have one of those defense mechanics. But doing good damage now through my SP1. Now I really want to make sure I try to finish the fight on an SP1 to get all of those debuffs on him. And so again, nice power gain. And you can see right here, I'm like, oh, okay. I think it's about right. So I throw the SP1 and it actually doesn't kill him, but I kill him now and I have a lot of debuffs. So it's great. So really cool fight. Tough opponent. When you see enough there that, but it's a power gain node, and so with the Petrifies on, the power gains are basically totally out of the picture, which is really, really nice. The last fight also was an interesting, fun one too. This is against Mojo, and this is the Mix Master, so you can't throw 2 of the same attacks in a row, else you will miss, which is a good way to get killed. Mojo's Mojo. He's a tough attacker, but again, he's another one where this is going to be really helpful getting the Petrify on him because he gets that regen. And since I have no buffs with the Defiance Mastery, because you can see he's a Mystic Defender, he also gets the Aggression Prowess, which means if you get hit, you could end up dying from his specials. But again, so Mr. Fantastic is never getting any buffs, which is amazing. And so, it's like almost nothing I have to worry about in this fight, because the way Mojo works is he puts on buffs on you. And when they expire, if he's in his anti-life mode, then you take that degen damage. So I'm immune to the degen damage, which makes this fight much more doable. You can see I can only do 2-hit combos. That's the way Mojo is. 2-hit combos. Go launch my SP2 again. Cutting it a little close to losing my pre-fights, which was one of the most important things with using him. This node I don't think is great for Mojo because again he only has his SP1 because of the power focus. And his SP1 is much more easy to deal with. But I would like to get 3 of those in a row so I could get the defense tactic for his SP1 up. And so again, just knocking him down, trying to play it slow and careful. Don't want to make any mistakes and want to keep my debuffs off. So, just knocking him down. And you can see he hardly gains any power off after the first bar power. That's power focus 1. But in general, he does have some power gain mechanics. But again, my Defiance takes it away because he can't eliminate or speed up any of my debuffs, and I just don't have any. So it makes these champions very powerful. The Defiance I found much more than I would have expected. It's interesting to think how vulnerable you are because of buffs. So I have all 3 up. He's definitely melting again, taking willpower damage, but with the 3 Petrifies, the willpower is is reversed and you get it as damage. So close to losing them there. That would have been terrible. It's like one of those things where sometimes I forget to pay attention to, is knocking him down. And again, trying to get a bunch of debuffs off for when he dies, because those go right into my persistent charges, so I can use them over and over again. So really fun fight. Just wanted to showcase, Defiant's tactic. I think it's going to be incredible. I think Mr. Fantastic, the champions I have right here, I-Bomb and Captain Infinity War, are going to have huge uses in this season. And the season starts very soon, so hope you're ready for it. I certainly am, and can't wait to have hopefully more war videos this season. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.